still.
Okay, I think I'm ready to take that position now.
Okay.
I think I'm ready to take that strong position now, right? So,
okay,
before I take that position, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say everybody has an experience that they went through that was so profound and so great on their behalf that they will attribute it to God, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask this. What about the 2-year-old baby that got into a car accident and died?
Mm.
What about the little girl who was molested? Where was God then? And based off of that, based off of what I'm hearing from, because it's mostly my dog Phil chiming in. So based off of what I'm hearing from that, I'm going to say I don't believe in God. There is no God. There is no God.
Okay. Why don't you go there and do something about it?
You think it's only in one place at one time? You think only one person getting raped at one time? You think only one person getting hit by a car at one time? I would if I could, but I can't. All right, let me drop the next one.
So, just because my parent has been bad on this earth, I have to pay for the consequence for them? That is not fair. What if I live a righteous life and I'm still going through stuff because of my parents? I feel like that karma should be for my parents. Not the children, but for the parents.
Because that's life. I believe that's the algorithm that if you do bad shit, unfortunately, it is going to come back on your children. And it might come back on your grandchildren. And it might come back on your grandchildren's grandchildren. Is it fair? That may be up to perspective.
It's called diabetes. Well, for our it's called diabetes.
That's one example of that. So I believe that exists in the higher power that be set that in place so that we understand that every action has a reaction. So that although we have free will, you have free will, but whatever you do, good or bad, is going to affect people outside of you. So like for a person who would shift responsibility and be like, oh, nah, that's for God to do that. God allowed that girl to get shot. I wasn't in that neighborhood where that guy pulled that trigger and started shooting and hit that 2-year-old. And it's like, but do you listen to that music? Do you promote that lifestyle? In what ways have you influenced that lifestyle in your own life? In what ways have you, strengthened that frequency, strengthened that vibration in the way you deal with your brothers? And you know what I'm saying? Like, God is omniscient. God is omnipresent. What would separate, what would be, God versus self is that God can actually see it. But, we can't necessarily see it because we're not at that level of self. But I believe that in all ways, we as human beings, and there's a difference between human beings and mankind. I believe that in all ways, we as human beings have contributed to what the world has become today, and whether through our action or inaction, that is what has led to the little girl being raped. The who?
The onus, the responsibility. It wasn't on us. And mind you, we talking about God, but it really sounded like we talking about atheism versus Christianity. You get what I'm saying? But the onus, according to Christianity, the onus isn't on man. That's why he had to send a son who is 100% man and 100% God to sacrifice his life. You get what I'm saying? The onus wasn't on us because he wouldn't have had to send his son. According to Christianity, even though we talking about God in general, but according to Christianity, you know what I'm saying? Like, the onus is not on man to do these things because man can only be at one place at one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you did play a role, there are children who have played no role and no part in none of this. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, they did not save the little boy, the little girl, the guy crossing the street. They didn't save them either. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's not about pointing a finger at an individual. It's about realizing that this stuff is fairy tale. If we're really talking about an individual who is up in the clouds making decisions. But if we're talking about a realization, then that's where your comment come in about the role that we play. That's where your comment come in. If we're talking about a realization.
I would say I disagree with Christianity in the aspect that God, I would say I super disagree with Christianity that all the responsibility falls on God. And we got 7 comments, but I'll leave this part at I disagree with Christianity that all the responsibility is on God. So let's
say it again. Say that again.
Well, I would say I just repeated what I said. I highly disagree with Christianity that all the responsibility for what happens in the world and what happens in our life is on God. I highly disagree with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say to her, yeah, baby, we don't get that option. It'd be like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I would, and I'm with the Bible, and it's on to the 7th generation. Because even when you feel me, from even on a site, like, let me not even, because, you know, even though psychology is a science too, you get what I'm saying, but people don't look at it as such. But I can bring it to our health habits and our eating habits. But even psychologically, you get what I'm saying? And this is where that moral, what's understood, don't need to be explained. Even psychologically, when you live a certain way for a certain amount of generations, those mentalities, those ways of life, you get what I'm saying, those tendencies, it become habitual in the next generation. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's so important how we raise our children. You get what I'm saying? Because it's generation. That is a part of the generational curse too. Not only how we eat, but how we talk and treat each other, and what the things we speak about and what we watch, or like you were saying, the music we listen to. You get what I'm saying? Like all of that play a role. Yeah.
So how do we transcend these generational curses?
Right now?
Period. Like how do we as a people transcend generational curses left by our parents and grandparents?
It come with a lot of things. Number one, the first thing we got to do is throw away this term that we got called toxic masculinity. You know what I'm saying? Because masculinity ain't nothing but assertiveness and structure. To have something in your mind and then have the structure and the discipline, because that's a part of masculinity as well. To have the structure and the discipline to bring that thing that you had in your mind into the real world, and you can actually see it.
That takes discipline.
You just did a manifestation. You get what I'm saying? That's why it's like, people look at spirituality as this mystical stuff, bro. But you don't realize that if you had a vision in your mind, you wanted to start that business, or you wanted to get that girl, or you wanted to, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just really just brought something from the mental realm, which is spiritual. Your mind, your dreams, your head, that's spiritual. You brought it from up there into the physical realm. That means that's why Christ was a master. They called him master, bro.
Now I'm gonna ask you this, okay? As a person, not spiritual, as a person now, how do you feel about the belief that Christ was sent here by God to help people break generational curses? And the reason I ask that is because some people would say that only you can break your own generational curse. Nobody can come here and help the world break generational curses. Do you believe that is a religious concept placed upon him? Or do you believe that physically there is a way that there is like a leader that can help a nation or help a people transcend generational curses? How do you feel about that?
Well, if we're dealing with the story, and we're dealing with this individual Christ, then most definitely, I feel like he was here to crack generational curse. Most definitely.
Do you feel like that's possible for people like us?
Yes, sir.
How do you feel that we can help people break generational curses?
I'm not trying to help nobody. You choose to be the one. Can't nobody save you. You choose. Yeah. You choose to be the one.
Sometimes the ancestors will choose a particular person in the family, and they may choose multiple people, but they may pick like this main one that's kind of really open and that's connected more to the spirit realm to give them abilities and tools to break certain curses that may be amongst their family. I mean, it's not in. I never really consider it as a curse. I just consider it as some of a pattern of things.
Yeah,
and you just have to break the pattern.
Bring
Break the pattern because things go around and around and around and around and again, and you can just stop that. There's no difference than things happen to you in your life and shit just come back around and back around. You just have to find a way to break the pattern, and that's just by being more conscious, being more open-minded, and keeping your vibration on a high level, and inspiring your family members to do the same.
See, that's where I believe we're a God, because in the beginning was a word. If you look at the original word, the original language for the word, it means idea or concept. So if a generational curse is just a repeated pattern, it just takes somebody to bring a new idea or a new concept to be like, no, I'm going to do it this way. I believe that person is God in the flesh. Even Willie Lynch says that. Willie Lynch said, listen, it said this method is foolproof. The only way this method can be broken is if a quote-unquote phenomenon happens. That's just a person with a new idea, and he's fucking strong enough to push through all the bullshit to let that idea take root. And that'll break every damn Willie Lynch PTSD. But it's just a kid. It's just a boy or girl that's like, I got an idea and I'm going to do it this way. And that one little kid can change the whole entire world. I believe that kid, whoever they is God in the flesh.
Okay.
So that's how I believe we help break generational curse. I don't believe you got to be like a Superman running around saving motherfuckers. I believe it's just as simple as being yourself and being like, hey, I'm going to express my authenticity and bringing new ideas and concepts to the table instead of trying to flow with everybody else.
Right, a new idea. You said it right, because it's all about perspective. Like each and every individual on earth have their own perspective on all things in life. And so, when they give you, if you that chosen one, or it can be anybody else, like I said, more connected to the spirit realm, because that's how a lot of shit flow, and how God flowed in Jesus and, ancestors and also aliens as well. They can give you things and tools and ideas inside your head, like a great perspective to give to others. And break that. Like I had to do that with my family.
And what really helped me to understand God was seeing that, wow, this is very much a natural thing. Like every esoteric or ideological thing that was presented to us can be explained very naturally and practically. But what I discovered was that most people who were explaining these ideological and philosophical things were people who were sitting inside of temples and they never left the temple and they spent their whole entire life in the temple. So now when they tried to explain it to the everyday person is like, dude, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm hungry. I need food. My mom just died. My son is laying ill. Fuck all that shit. I'm finna go rob and kill somebody because I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. And I'm like, damn, if y'all monks would just leave the temple and go out among people, you are the next Big Bang. And religion made it to where like, no, we have no responsibility to the people outside. We don't interact with the people outside. It's them and us, and that's it. And I'm like, well, damn, then the cycles are going to continue. There's no Big Bang.
We choose to take on these responsibilities, and there's nothing wrong with it. We don't. We choose to.
Yeah,
and there's nothing wrong with it.
If nobody makes that choice, then shit continues. I believe the highest vibration. I believe that portals. We talking about portals. I believe the portal to the highest vibration is love.
And monks supposed to leave
that's what I'm saying. You're saying that monks don't have to go out and teach anybody. It's a choice that they make. But what propels you to make those?
We all make choices. Who is to judge? We all make.
That's
choices.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But what propels you to make that choice, and what propels you to make all choices that makes you God, that makes you create a Big Bang, that helps you break, is love.
So you define if a person got God enough.
No, I didn't say. I said love. Now God is love, But if you have God,
you can't even define. You can't even judge that because you telling them what they're supposed to.
Yeah, I can definitely judge that. I can definitely judge that. If everybody around you is sick,
they love something. They love something.
No.
Who is to judge
what
they love?
What does it produce?
That's up to the frequencies to judge that, but they love something. You get what I'm saying? That's for man to judge.
When I look at, you can judge that. There is no not for man to judge. If everybody in your village is sick and you have the knowledge to make medicine, right? But you say, well, it's not my responsibility to go out there and make medicine for them. You don't have God. You may have knowledge of God, but you don't have God.
You see these white folks who they say don't like them? I'm not worried about them not liking us, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like that just equates to me in my mind. That's why I brought that up. I'm not worried. Like, right. Who am I to judge? Like, where does like start and like begin? Where does love start and love begin? You know what I'm saying? Like, man can't come up with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying when it comes to people, when it comes to other people, that's them. But when I start speaking about love, I start speaking about how we need to interact with each other as a people so that we can once again become a unified nation.
You see, bro, when I talk, like, because we in the physical dimension, bro. So when I talk, I try to keep it linear. You get what I'm saying? So we're talking about the monks. You get what I'm saying? And you were saying that they're supposed to get out of the temple. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To teach the people because that's not love. And I'm saying, you're telling them what they're supposed to love, what they're supposed to be fond of. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot tell him another man that.
Actually, I can. That's the Big Bang.
Wow.
That's the new idea. That's the word that was in the beginning. That's the idea. That's the perspective. And I made the choice to be the person that will tell them. That's my choice. I made the choice to be that person. That's what makes me God.
And, I was out there smoking, doing my thing. And one day, the voice of the Lord came to me. And he ain't say much. He just asked me one question. What kind of man you gon' be? What kind of man you gon' be? I'ma be the man who stand for the truth. What kind of man you gon' be? I'ma be the man who stand for the truth. What kind of man you gon' be for me? I'ma be the man who stand for the truth. Went from crumbling grass to a burning bush. That's the plans that I am if you turn to look. You see, I am that I am, wanna burn in you. Learn the truth, but you tryna burn your roots. Swerving you, busting to the burning mute. Turn the shoot, Cowboys Michael Irvin too. When you hit the corner, you got another two. Only you, but they lying and they graving. They ain't got no one to teach their way out of slavery. They ain't got no one to teach the way to the babies. Cause babies having babies, Moses Christ will stop and save them. And I'm going hard since I answer my call. And I won't fail even if I do fall. Cause I won't stop, cause I won't quit. Never gon', never gon', never gon' quit. What kind of man you gon' be? I'ma be the man who stand for the truth. What kind of man you gon' be? I'ma be the man who stand for the truth.